So today what we want to do is we wanted to kind of take you into our lives a little bit and some of the lessons, possibly the hard lessons
that we've learned along the way.
That we've learned along the way.
You see that?
And we just thought it would be really good to share some of this.
Well, so many people have asked us what we've learned, what's the best scenario, what works best for you.
They'll also ask us, well, what about this brand? And what about this brand? And what about, like, you don't want to, you want to stay away from that one, or yeah, that one's good. I think the first thing that we want to do is kind of explain to you why we chose the motorhome that we chose. The reason that we chose not to do the trailer or the fifth wheel is because it really wouldn't hold up the way that we use the motorhome. Just for some background, the way that we use the motorhome is we travel full-time, and we're pretty much in a different city in possibly a different state every week, sometimes even every day.
But when we say we're full-time, we kind of go above and beyond. Most people that say they're full-time, they go from place that they stay for a month, and then they'll maybe go over here for a month, maybe 6 weeks, maybe 3 months. So they don't necessarily travel as much as what we do.
Right.
We travel, I mean, we've put
40 or 50,000 miles
on our motorhome, but we also pull a Mini Cooper behind us so that we stop in one area and then we go to different areas also in our car. So
we had to have something very sturdy and road worthy that is going to not only not beat the interior up and all of our stuff up, but beat us up going down the highway. So we chose a Class A diesel pusher because it had the air ride suspension, it has the full Freightliner chassis, there's Spartan chassis, there's all kinds of different chassis, but we wanted the big truck suspension, big, like big truck suspension, and with all the air ride and comfortability.
So a lot of people told us, well, in a gas coach, miles matter, but in a diesel coach, miles don't matter, and that's bunk.
Yeah, that's not
that's
true
not
at all.
true at all.
Not true
so
at all.
Even when you hit the 100,000 mile mark on your diesel pusher, even though they're built to go all these miles, when you want to trade it in or resell value, it plummets once you hit that 100,000 mile mark.
Very important information, yeah. Air ride suspension, air brake, engine brake, huge game
Especially
changer.
when you go out west.
Out west, going up and down those mountains.
Those mountains are no joke.
You can hit that button and literally just let the RPMs bring the coach to a slower speed, so you're not riding the brakes and tearing up your brakes. That's a huge, just a big deal. You need the suspension, you need the air brakes, we have the 400 Cummins diesel in the back. We've got the side vents. We have found it runs more efficiently, it gets better fuel mileage. That's a big thing to look for, is the side vents. The other thing that the diesel does is it allows more mileage to be put on before it really wears out the motor. It's designed to go further. Then you've got the engine brake, the gas brake. So those are all the guy things, kind of the big stuff things you got to have, but just also understand that means that when things go wrong, they're way more expensive to fix. So our refrigerator is creating ice right now, so that's a good thing. The other thing is, on these diesel pushers, the inverters have changed the entire game. Inverters, the perfect example of that is now we have a full fridge.
A residential.
A residential, that's right. And used to, you wouldn't be able to do that. We've got a huge inverter in this coach. That makes just a big difference.
Well, I think a lot of people have told us, you'll never find a perfect motorhome.
Yeah.
And I guess that's kind of the way you feel about houses. You know, well, if I bought the next house I'll buy is going to have this instead of this. You know, it's always you want to upgrade, but the key is when you find a motorhome or a RV of any sort, make sure it's very comfortable in your living space.
Right.
Such as where you sit when you watch TV, or where you sit when you eat. Where you sit if you have people over. Do you have enough seating for X amount of people if you entertain? Or I know in a lot of these Class A's, the way the TV is located is very tricky and sometimes not comfortable at all. So even though it might look good when you first walk in, oh, you know, it has a nice leather couch, oh, the TV is really nice, but when push comes to shove and you're sitting down at night and you want to watch the news or whatever, and you're breaking your neck to look at the TV, that's not comfortable.
Because our TV's up front, so the entire time, unless you're laying on the couch watching the TV, your crooked neck turned, and it's just uncomfortable that way, you know.
So just make sure that you are aware of that as far as the layout, that choose the layout that best fits you.
I think the biggest tip that we've really learned is you must make sure that your living space is comfortable and that you're going to enjoy spending a lot of time, because this is where we leisurely watch TV. This is where we work. This is where we, you know, everything happens right in here. Try to find opposing slides. That is just a major deal. We have a super slide on one side, but no slide on this side, and it does make a big difference. I've seen people where they on this wall, they put a piece of wood there and they put a big TV up against there, and then they took out the couch on this side, and you know, you put love seats in there that you can recline possibly or something. You just understand that it's very difficult to replace furniture. Number one, you better make sure you're going to keep it for a long time, because when you trade it in, they're going to want to know where that furniture is, the original furniture.
Yes, it has to be original when you turn it back in, or you're, again, depreciates
the value. Secondly, it's not easy to get this couches and stuff in and out of this coach. Matter of fact, most people say you'll have to take the window out to be able to get the chairs in, the couches in, whatever you want. And I'm 6'5". The couch that we sleep on, that we sit on or lay on sometimes, and sometimes I'll sleep there if I upset you at night. I might have to sleep there. Sometimes that is only like 4'9". I swear, you know, so it's not easy for tall people to fit in there.
A lot of people think you need all of this stuff. And I know you've probably heard that along the way, that you don't need as much stuff as what you necessarily think that you do. But also, even as far as plates, I know as cooking and things like that, you need serving plates and things that you cook on, obviously pans and whatnot, you need all that. But as far as plates that you eat off of, Johnny and I hardly ever use a traditional plate. We always use paper plates. It's just easier, just because space in motorhomes or RVs, there's not a lot of space in a lot of these. So I'd rather utilize the space for other things rather than plates. I know that a lot of people will, you know, can get the plates and put silicone on the bottom so that they don't slip, and bowls and things like that. But you only really need a few of those. You don't need one for every person in the family and every person that's coming over.
Right.
When Johnny and I first got it, we ran out and got like the serving size of like 10 plates. Why? I have no idea. But we found it on sale and we thought, oh, this is a really good deal. No, we don't need that. We have plates sitting in our cabinet that we never use. Even when we grill out or we cook in here or whatever, we never use them. We always use paper plates. So I'm not saying don't have any, but you use very minimal.
Very minimal.
And of course you want bowls if, you know, people like soup and stuff. Bowls are important. So, but just a couple. You don't need...
If you use just common sense too, you know, when you're boondocking a lot, you don't have the water to be washing dishes a lot. So you got to be conservative of your water, and you know, I know people like a small footprint. You can always burn paper plates, you know, in the fire pit or something.
Make sure you have a working
RV,
updatable updatable RV GPS, truck GPS.
Huge.
Is so important, because for some reason the one that we have does not connect to the updates. So a lot of times it will take us down a weird way when we could have saved ourselves 20 minutes because there's a new road or a new route or something. But because the GPS won't update, it, has, of course it always saves us from, the bridges and, narrow roads
because
and things
it lets
like
you
that.
put in the height, the
Right,
width,
but
the
as
length.
far as the update, it's so crucially important to get one that has updates, that is able to update, because they're always forever changing roads. So
that has bit us many, many times. So that's a really
Yes.
good point. Buyer be aware. It's very surprising to us how little most salespeople know. And when you come across a good RV salesperson, he is or she is worth their weight in gold.
Yes.
Because most people just kind of go, this looks good,
You need to find a salesman that is not all about the sale, that they are all about what you're looking for and what's best for you. Because we went to an RV place in Fort Myers, Florida, and the guy was so phenomenal. And he actually is a NEWMAR dealer, so of course he's going to want to push NEWMAR, which is top of the line, beautiful, beautiful coaches.
well made.
And he said, I can put you in, there's 15 different motorhomes that I could put you in today that fits exactly what you're asking for. But that's not what you're looking for. Those are all junk. What you're looking for, probably a little bit more expensive than what you said, but it's worth its weight in gold because everything's updated. A lot like the mentality that we had was, if it's a little bit cheaper or it's a little bit older and still maybe a little bit more expensive, then it's better. But that's not the case at all, because it's older, and of course everything is older.
And it's outdated, and it might break down on you.
Or your whatever. So now it's, 10 plus years old, and now you're running into the fact of things breaking down because they are older. So it's probably better to get something that's a little bit more current, because so that way you don't run into problems like that. So
time
yes.
and going down the road, things are going to break. For the best example we've got right now is we've got an Aqua Hot machine that has given us the blues.
Oh my goodness.
It has been nothing but a nightmare. I think the biggest tip we could give you is fancier is not better. We would rather go back and get everything manual so that we can work on it ourselves. The Aqua Hot machine is wonderful when it works. It's cost me at least $2,000 this year. And now there's a possible crack in the tank because it's 14 years old, and they're trying to say if we can't fix it by ourselves, it's going to be like $8,000 to put a refurbished one back in this coach. That's big time money. We would rather, in some ways, just go back to an old gas water heater.
So, for example, when we were talking to this particular salesperson, they were telling us how their friend demanded that he get a NEWMAR King Air, which is top of the line of NEWMAR. So brand new, those coaches are close to $1 million. But he wanted one that was used, and I don't remember how old it was, but it was several
like
years
an
old.
07.
And he kept telling him, you do not want this motorhome because of its age. Then all of the things are going wrong with it.
Gonna break down.
And his friend demanded that he go ahead and purchase this motorhome, and he's doing it. And now he regrets it because that motorhome is in the shop more than it is in his driveway, because everything, all the bells and whistles, all the little Opulence things are all falling apart.
One of the things that we also wanted to kind of finish this video with is talking about the different dealers that you purchase motorhomes from.
The key is study, know your stuff.
I think that the perfect example of that is we ran across a very good salesman when we first ever started doing this. And the reason that he really blessed me so much is because we did not know that financing of RVs is more like financing a home than it is financing a car. Whereas a car has limited terms, where 7 years, maybe 6, 7 years. We didn't think there's any way possible to be able to afford a $100,000, $200,000 motorhome. What we were doing when we first started looking is we were thinking, buy the cheapest thing out there, buy this little class, we were looking at little class C's. Do you remember? The salesman said, I know that this is what you came in for. I want to tell you what you really need. And he was so excellent in that. And then I realized it was after that we realized, we thought, well, we can't afford that. He said, well, why not? And he explained the financing, and we were blown away. So understand that the financing is more like purchasing a home. Usually it's between 10 and 20 years. The max you can finance a motorhome is for 20 years. That's the max.
And it also depends on the age of a motorhome. So buying an older motorhome is a little bit more tricky.
The older the RV that you're looking at is, the less opportunity you'll have for banks to actually finance them. They, literally, if it's below a 2000, they won't finance it at all. Just guarantee you. And even 2003, 2004, 2005 are slim pickings at what banks would actually finance those. Another thing that we learned about financing is when you trade them in, the finance, it's only a certain percentage of book that they'll finance. That may be above your pay grade, but that's an important thing to know, is what your book value of your motorhome actually is. Not what resale value is, but what wholesale blue book or yellow book, NADA book, is on your motorhome, because they're usually going to go either that or below that, because a bank will only finance a certain percentage of that number. So if you're upside down, for instance, it really hurts you, because there's only a certain percentage they can finance, and they will not finance a lot of your negative equity. So what does that mean? You have to come up with a lot of money down as a down deposit. So, making sure that you understand that you have a reality check when you walk into a dealership of something. Here's the key word, ACV, which means actual cash value. What is your motorhome actually worth? Not what you think it's worth. What are they going to buy it for, so that they can turn around and sell it and make a profit? And make sure they're going to make a profit, or they're not going to do the deal. And that you can meet the nicest people in the world. This is a seller's market, and they don't have to sell you that motorhome. They're going to make money on it, and you just need to know that. The only bidding part of it is to make sure that it's a fair profit that they make, not that they buy all new homes on you.
We want you to know this, so that when you go into buying, that you kind of have an open mind as far as what you're looking for, and all of that. Kind of just be aware, study things out a little bit, and don't just buy something blissfully unaware and hope for the best. We want this to be an encouragement.
Yes.
And not just a Debbie Downer, because this was the best decision that we ever made, was to go full time, because we absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. And we're trying to talk our kids into doing it.
Yeah.
Our grown kids.
Yeah. And I think that we've learned lessons. We have some friends on here that some of you may know, called Keep Your Daydreams. And they have a mantra, and their mantra is start where you can. Start where you are. If all you can afford today is this, go do that. But don't put yourself into a negative situation just by wanting to do something so much. So that's our heart in sharing this video. And that being said, here's the big finish. In all of our searches, in all the motorhomes that we have looked at, I'm going to tell you my top 2 choices. The top 2 that we would recommend without any problems is NEWMAR and TIFFAN. Now, there are high-level opulent packages on NEWMAR, such as the King Air, the London Air, the Essex, the Mountain Air.
But you're going to pay for all that.
But you're going to pay for all that. And then the TIFFAN there's high levels of those too. The best way that I can explain to you the difference between NEWMAR and TIFFAN is NEWMAR is kind of like the way it was even explained to us, is that it's like a French suit. You know, it's sporty and tight and it looks good on you, but it's to make you look spiffy, right? Where a TIFFAN,
and you're paying for it.
Yeah, and you're paying for the expense of that suit. A TIFFAN is like an American suit, just kind of boxy, but it's going to be durable. It's going to last, and you can, it's not going to be quite as expensive. So, and you can work on them yourselves. Our dream coach, if we had a dream coach, would be a NEWMAR Mountain Air. But probably our next coach that we would probably go after is probably be the new TIFFAN Red, open road red diesel pusher. They're known as to be able to work on. They're called couples coaches. We're more than willing to have any discussions in the comments below, and give you our honest opinions on anything that you ask us. Our heart's desire is to really be transparent and truthful, and let the information that we have gained over the last 5 years be known to all of you. And it is a great, I'm gonna tell you this right now, it's a lifestyle that we are seeing is growing by great multitudes. People are selling their brick and mortar houses and they're getting on the road. Well, we wanted to say thank you for joining us today. We want to let you know that we have a website, johnnyrowlett.com. And of course, we have Instagram and Facebook, and we have a Patreon page if you'd like to be able to join us on our journey, become an insider. That's Gail. I'm Johnny. Thanks for joining us here at Full Time Freedom Run. Make sure that you leave a comment, subscribe. If you have any questions, we're more than willing and excited to answer your questions, and we'll tell the truth.
Yes.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye. Overpromise, underdeliver.
It's too hot, baby.
Oh my gosh.
3, 2, 1. I was doing a little bit of singing right there. 3, 2, 1. So